Hello, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Tammy's channel chat. So I'm glad that you're back. I've got some more questions from a client that I would like to tune into our lovely spirit guides and channel some information for you. Some of this does come from me because I've had a lot of experience. I've been doing intuitive readings for over 30 years. And if you are interested in having a personal private session with me, you can contact me on my website, tammysintuitive.com. I do have a contact form there, and you can just fill that out and we can get together and schedule a good time for you. Okay, so I am also on social media a lot. I've mentioned this many times for those of you that have been watching these. So TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, I do channel messages on there and all that good stuff. Okay, so let's get started. Let's see what other questions. Thank you again to this wonderful viewer for sending in these questions, and to all of you who have. Remember, these questions can be just, even if you think they're like kind of silly questions, something that everybody might wonder about. They don't have to be silly, obviously, but even if you think they are, go ahead and ask them. We'll see what we get as a response. Okay. So anyway, this one, there's a few questions here. I'll get to what I can within the time that I like to do this, the length of time I like to do this for. So what animals exist in the afterlife and what animals don't? I'm just tuning into my guides right now. What animals exist in the afterlife and what animals don't, if they don't? Yes, so true, just like people. They said all do, but they all don't want to go. All do exist in the afterlife. So everything does go back home, in a sense. As energy becomes energy once they leave their little bodies. And most will want to transcend to the light. So here's the question. So what animals exist in the afterlife? Really, all of them do. I've been told by many, when I've been doing sessions for people and they've been checking in with loved ones, they'll definitely show me like pets, or they'll just reference like a dog or a cat. There was one recently, I think, that was showing me that they had a bunny rabbit now. They didn't necessarily, to my client didn't necessarily understand that, but that now they were showing me that they have a bunny rabbit. So maybe, I don't know, maybe it was a past life connection with that particular animal, and they're showing me that they're back home with that animal, or they've always wanted one or something like that. Okay, so really, all animals have the ability, and most will. So it is interesting, isn't it? We know that humans, there are some humans that leave their body and just aren't ready to transition for whatever reason that may be. They just, it's really nice on the earth plane, or they've got loved ones they want to still be around, or they don't have an afterlife belief in anything. So even when they're seeing the glorious light and all that, they're like, I'm safer here, that kind of thing. So as I've always said, most of us will gladly and lovingly transition to the light. Okay. But why would animals choose not to, guys? Okay, so they're showing me that they don't always have they show me the word essence, strong vibration. Perhaps they are newer to the planet and are very planted. They're showing me like hooves, like horse hooves or cow's hooves or something on the dirt and the planet. It made sense for them. It was safe, kind of what we were talking about. It's safe. And so some of them will just linger a bit. Do they feel lost, guys? For the animals that do not decide to transition? Not really lost, just taking their time. Wow. Okay, so what about like the domesticated animals? If we have cats or dogs, we'll just say, do many of those stay on the earth plane and not transition? Some will stay for a while. You see, remember what some of the primary reasons for animals, certainly domesticated animals, pets as we know it, to come into a lifetime is to heal and help support humans. So you can imagine there might be some that don't feel that comfortable transitioning yet because their owner, their human that they loved very much, is mourning them very deeply. And of course, we all do that with our animals, but that, I think that's why we always go back to, it's so important to yes, we're going to grieve over our animals or mourn their loss. But it's really important to let them know that it is okay to transition to the light, because you will know that they will be visiting you. They will be with you energetically whenever they want to, whenever you would just think of them. So there's no leaving you, even so. So it's really important to, just like people, to encourage them when it's their time. Let's say if there was an illness or something and you were by the bedside and they're lingering, hanging on, to encourage them it's okay. They'll all still do it on their own time, but it sounds like animals do the same thing. So that's the reason they might linger. They're showing me, again, ones that are not domesticated, let's say farm animals, that aren't necessarily domesticated. And those that choose or are lingering about, I'm in a room with a little fish tank and it just borked and the fish must have jumped. So it freaked me out there for a second. So anyway, yeah, so they, those ones that aren't sure. And why are they not sure? Okay, they show me that the light, yeah, it's almost like newer souls. I was getting that initially too, almost like if there is really a newer soul, that it's a soul that doesn't feel as developed. Their mind isn't even as developed. So all they know, they keep showing me planted on the earth, planted on the earth. So it would almost tell me that sometimes, I'm going to say the undomesticated animals, not all of them, but some might linger more than domesticated ones do, unless, you've got a pet owner who is just not wanting to let them go, energetically. Okay. So like we said, are there any that don't? No, again, all energy, all have the ability, just like we do, to go back home. Okay. Most will, just like most people will make that crossing. Not all do, though. Good question. Okay. Can you explain the various types of intuitive skills people have? Great. Okay. So certainly I can give you that information, and I'm always open to my guides, whatever they drop in for me or add to it. So the various types of intuitive skills, I personally go just to the clairs, the clairsentient, claircognizant, clairvoyance, clairaudient. There's I'm not even that savvy on all these, but they're like clairaugustus, or I'm saying it wrong, maybe. You all might know who are reading that. But there's the one that's the smell. I'm not sure what that one is. That might be the one I was just trying to say. But the clairs have all different, kind of represent different things. If it's claircognizance, it's kind of when you just know something. That's an intuitive skill. You just kind of know it. I don't know. I just know it. Clairsentience, clairsentience, sometimes pronounced that way too, is that feeling, sensing, knowing. It kind of can relate to the claircognizant. Claircognizance is just like a knowing, like you just know it. Clairsentience is kind of you're feeling a lot of energy. You might feel energy in general. You walk into a room and that kind of thing. Okay, so you're picking that up. Clairvoyance is third eye. It's about clear seeing. So the clair means clear. And so clairvoyance is about seeing, you might see outwardly. Some people see energy, see spirit outwardly. A lot for me is in my mind's eye. That's very common for intuitives to see things internally here. Though I have had situations that I've seen, but not that many compared to here. Okay. Obviously, clairaudience is what I'm doing when I listen to my guides. It's the hearing that comes in. And did I skip one? Yeah, there is a smell that some people will just know something through smell, or they'll pick up smells. So certainly those are the main. I always think of the clairs to this kind of question, because that really covers all the intuitive skills. You can, because really, if we go out and we ask anybody, oh, what kind of, psychic experience, intuitive experience do you have? They may say, I always know when my mom is going to call me or something like that on the phone. And that can be a couple of the clairs, really. It can be the claircognizant. It can be that you are matching energy with that person. It can be coming from the clairsentient perspective. And sometimes these work together, these clairs. They do for me in readings. They often will work together. My primary, I always say, is clairaudience. Secondary is clairvoyance for me. But I definitely get feelings too as well when I'm just doing a session. So those are mainly the main ones. If somebody is just, like I said, hearing something suddenly, you know, maybe they're just hearing something, there's clairaudience at work, or they get a visual, they get a picture suddenly of something happening or going to happen. Precognition often will come in the form of, you know, in the third eye area. So those are some of the main ones I would say of that question. Hope that's helpful for you. Another great question. And okay, so do I need protection? Okay, well, the question is, do you need protection when you're around an intuitive you're not familiar with? That's a really good question. Now, this is what I say to that, and what they're saying to that also. You should always be protected around anybody. Not necessarily. I mean, I get your question. It's like, I guess if somebody's going to intuitive, they might feel like, are they maybe doing something there to their energy, to like your energy, or anything too that you need to be concerned about. We would just say in general, it's always a great idea to do visuals of protection of energy. If you're not sure and you even ask that question, that I feel a little vulnerable, or now, if somebody's coming to me for the first time, I often will ask that person as I'm doing my grounding and all that good stuff with them. I'll only do this like first time maybe with somebody, is to have them, they don't have to say anything out loud, but to telepathically send me a message that they are opening up their energy field for, giving me permission to read their energy. Nothing's happening here that's negative, nothing's manipulative or anything like that. They're just kind of giving me that permission. That being said, that's different from picking up, you know, or getting bombarded by somebody. So if you're, the most important thing I would say is make sure you're protecting your energy. If you're going to be in a situation where there's a lot of people around and it makes you uncomfortable, you're going to be talking to somebody, even on the phone, that you know, there's sometimes negative stuff coming back. Family gatherings, it doesn't hurt to protect your energy. If you remember, I always talk about, for me, the visual I like is big, giant white roses around my aura that I've asked to, you know, to descend from heaven and surround me. Maybe Mother Earth pops them up for you and surrounds, and the big, giant white roses. The idea is they're going to act like sponges around your energy field. Don't worry about where exactly is my edge of my aura. Just know it's surrounding your aura, okay? And then you set the intention. They're going to be absorbing any negative energy coming at me during this visit, this day, whatever it is. I'll be present for others, just not willing to take on the negativity, and it soaks it up. Those sponges, they're like sponges, they soak it up, okay? At the end of your encounter, I like to request and ask an angel to come, and if she would gather up the roses for me, and I like to see her fly around. She gathers them like a big bouquet, you know, when you're gathering up, flowers together. And then off she flies. She gives me a wing, blows me a kiss, something like that, lets me know she's taking them up to source to be recycled. That's how I like to protect my energy, then release the roses, okay? Because you want to release that energy too. Okay, so I would just say, again, to that question, if you at all feel uncomfortable, you're not sure, a little vulnerable, we don't want you closed off as an intuitive. Please, please, please don't close off your energy to us, because it does make it more challenging to read. All intuitives could probably say they've had the person who's more like the skeptic, like, I'm not saying nothing and you just tell me everything, but they're very guarded. They're very guarded. And so it's difficult. It really is kind of difficult to read. And you would think, well, if I'm just listening to my guides, why is that? Our guides, you know, are looking at energy too. So if they see somebody's very guarded, that means they're not getting permission to be read. So you really can't be manipulated with your energy, but why not protect it if you're in question about it at all? Okay. Okay, so I'll just answer this question. Do you need protection when you're around an intuitive you're not familiar with? So I think we kind of answered that as well, hopefully for you. So I hope that was good. Okay, so I always like to keep these a bit short. I'm over the 15 minutes a little bit. Thank you again for tuning in. Please send questions. If any of these things that we talk about make you think, oh, but what about this? Then, send me a note. It can be to my email address, on my contact form if you want, on the website, and, or in the comments, obviously here on YouTube. Then I will be happy to add that to our questions. Okay. So again, thank you so much, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care.